Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Math Map Overview. My name is Amanda Linebeck, and I am a book representative in the Southwest area of Ohio. First, I wanted to start with one of my favorite podcasts that was launched back in May of last year. Lee Bortons and Dr. Gilpin discussed the heart behind math education and the creation of the Math Map, and I highly encourage you to check it out. You can go to everydayeducatorpodcast.com, which is one of CC's 3 podcasts. All right, here's our catechesis and doxology wheel that you're probably familiar with. At the center of the wheel is God, our foundation, our guide, our goal. He holds all things together, and from him, all learning flows. Surrounding him are the core subjects or strands: debate, reasoning, grammar, research, logic, and exposition. In contrast to a modern education, not only is the student at the center, but these subjects would be in isolated silos. But on the doxology wheel, they're connected, they're interwoven. One subject feeds into the next because truth is never fragmented. We do a really good job of this at Classical Conversations and in classical educations in general. However, math has always been kind of pushed out of the circle because we've seen it as like cold and abstract. But rightly, it has now been pushed back into the doxology wheel where it begins, because math is a reflection of the order and beauty of God's mind, and we're invited in to see the unseen. So the Math Map was created to develop a fluency with the language of mathematics in order to see the unseen. It was developed as a mathematical unity within families and communities to support one another. And it was developed to practice the habits of classical mathematicians in order to know God and to make him known. So, the beauty of community enables parents to unify their math education efforts by having one weekly math concept to work through with all of their children together. In community, all of the students in your child's class are now going to be able to experience unity by studying and working through the same math curriculum. And in partnership, parents, students, and tutors can unite their efforts and understand that they are growing the body each week. So there are 2 ways of providing instruction when it comes to math. What's most familiar to most of us from our own modern public education is the idea of a didactic teaching. This involves direct instruction where the teacher or the parent presents and delivers facts and rules and formulas and procedures. Students are told what to do and how, but often with less focus on the conceptual understanding and more on efficiency and correctness. This is what was modeled for me when we first started math education by using a scripted teacher's guide. I read the text and then we worked through the problems. However, what is more closely aligned with the classical model is mimetic teaching, which focuses on imitation and modeling to teach concepts. It's rooted in imitation and mastery through modeling, where a parent will demonstrate a mathematical process and the student will imitate, gradually internalize the logic and the patterns. So let's say we're teaching multiplication. We're going to model repeated addition by grouping 3 groups of apples, 3 groups of 4 apples. And then you would have your student draw those apples, or you would actually have apples. And you would do this in repetition until they could understand that the concept of 3 times 4 is 12. In upper elementary and middle schools, we should still be modeling and comparing and defining why formulas work the way that they do. However, we typically tend to fall back into didactic teaching where the student is getting directed instruction, where the teacher is going to present facts, rules, formulas, and procedures. And like I said earlier, they're told what to do and how, but often it's less focused on the conceptual understanding and more on the efficiency and the correctness. I believe that this is ultimately where the divide is formed between being a math person and not a math person. The dialectic stage is when our students are most hungry for the why and the reasoning, and yet most modern math education is just pages and pages of calculation and formulas to plug in without exploring the reason behind it. So mimetic is about modeling and internalizing, and didactic is about telling and applying. So the Math Map is ultimately a mimetic philosophy, which is why it's a parent-led strand. We're going to be using those 15 classical skills, and we're teaching our children and ourselves to use the tools to examine and understand. So here are that list of the 15 skills. These are what we learn to examine new information and how we present learning in a variety of ways. And we teach our kids that these are the tools in their toolbox to be able to learn anything. So let's start with some grammar of math. Each level is called a domain, and there's 13 domains total from kindergarten up through 12th grade. So rather than saying my student is in 4th grade math, we're going to use words that mathematicians use to describe what they're studying. Expressions, complex numbers, monomials, rationals. And we see those here on this chart in the colored bars. The Math Map is recommended for families to use the domain that closely aligns to your child's age. And as you follow those colorful vertical bars up, you'll see that some of them become horizontal and encompass other domains. This provides practice with the weekly concept in their domain and also allows them to use numbers in lower domains, providing ample opportunities for practice and repetition. This visual shows you the rollout plan, both available as free downloads, and then they're transferring over to the bookstore to be sold in booklet form. We're now in the 2025 row with the stars on the decimals, rationals, and reals domains, which will start to be uploaded on CC Connected at the beginning of June. Integers, digits, fractions, complex, and monomials can now be found in the bookstore at classicalconversationsbooks.com, and the Foundation's age domains will continue to be on sale throughout the summer. So each domain contains 30 booklets. Each booklet is self-contained with 16 lesson pages, charts, and solutions included. The booklets are used by students, tutors, and family. The cover art on the front of each booklet and the game on the back are the exact same among all of the domains each week, allowing for families to start their week off with the art, examining the art and its corresponding scripture connection. The content of each booklet corresponds to the domain of those numbers. Parent equipping. So the Math Map Companion is a digital extension of the curriculum used primarily by parents. The Companion provides digital versions of the printed curriculum with digitally interactive resources such as an Audible glossary and links to videos connected to the pages and more. It's similar to an encyclopedia for the curriculum with digitally interactive features, and it's extremely informative. So where can you find the Companion and the free beta versions on the downloadable domains? So once you're logged into CC Connected, you're going to click Learning Center on the left, and then Foundations at the top, and then you're going to use the drop down to change to Interactive Tutorial, and that will leave you 2 tiles to choose from. I have clicked on the heart at the bottom of the tile, which makes it easy to find by using the toggle that says Only Include in My Favorites. A smaller version of this compass rose on the left side will appear, and then you'll click the green button that says Launch Full Screen. Once that page has been enlarged, you're going to click on the compass rose to open the Companion. This middle image is a visual of the Math Map. The blue vertical column on the left are the weekly mathematical concepts. Similar to how Essentials is set up, each week of each year, we're going to examine and practice a concept and move to the next the following week. Year after year, domain after domain, you and your child will be layering your understanding of that concept with larger domains of numbers. So to find the downloadable files, you'll click in the column and row of your choosing. You'll find which corresponding tile you'd like to click. A new window will open and you'll be prompted to click here to download, and then you'll be able to open it and print each 20-page file. For the complex domain, which is live and not downloadable because it's only available in the bookstore, the cover art will be the first image that you'll see. In the top right corner, you'll click on those 3 horizontal bars, and a drop-down menu will appear, allowing you to digitally flip through the booklets. So the Companion and the accompanying videos are found on each page. Here's what page 4 of week 11. So this number on the corner indicates the week that we're on. Here's the concept. We're learning about curved lines, and here's page 4. If I click on one of the worksheet areas here on the left side of the screen, the corresponding book club video or instruction video, or a text box will appear on the right side giving more information about that concept. So the highly coveted secret sauce of the Math Map are the charts. Now these are only found in the domains that are in the bookstore, and you won't find them in the downloadable versions on CC Connected. There are 4 pages of charts each week, and they're a complete reference for each lesson's concepts. And the goal by Challenge 4 is to have the ability to create and explain problems that demonstrate competency with all of the charts. These are the expanded scope of the curriculum, and they lay out in detail the concepts and the order that they're covered in the Math Map. Along with the charts, solutions are found in the middle of each weekly booklet and can be used to check solutions as well as to be used as a tool for learning. So here are some images from the worksheets inside of our integers domain, which is week 9, which is properties of open shapes, straight lines. Families are directed to complete 4 pages a day for 4 days a week. The concepts repeat daily with new problems and numbers, and they increase in complexity throughout the week. For our challenge students in their seminar class, the director will introduce the weekly concept. They'll talk through the cover art, the memoria, and the invention pages, and they'll work through some of the problems on pages 1 through 4. The student is then ready to take home their introductory exposure to the concept to work further alongside their parent at home for the rest of the week. So this was an introduction to the Math Map. At your Experience the Math Map at Home event, parents will become familiar with the Math Map material in order to build confidence in using the program at home. We'll further connect the why, the what, and the how of classical education and leave you feeling confident and inspired to reclaim your own math education and to see the unseen in the world around us. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. The secret word to enter into the event registration for my events is 4th dimension. I look forward to seeing you there and at our summer practicum, where once again we'll be using the 15 classical skills to examine, you guessed it, math. Thanks so much.